for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Ben on Fire here, back from the video, and today I'm going to be reading you guys Kiv's Gun Bunch Offset Offensive Guide. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of his favorite setups. These are going to be pretty unique setups. There's probably going to be some stuff that you haven't seen, so even if you are a heavy Gun Bunch offset player already, I think you can learn a lot from this guide. A lot of unique plays, unique setups, routes, things of that nature that you can definitely have some success with. I'm going to be going through about 6 passing plays. There are going to be certain abilities you want as well, but before we get into the video, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 13,000 subscribers. We're almost there, so hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the content. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop straight into it. So again, we're in Gun Bunch Offset. It's going to be out of the Carolina Panthers offensive playbook if you do not know. Pretty much right here, bunch offset, tons of good plays. I'm going to go over double post, PA dig fork, as well as curl flat, or not curl flat, flood, smash return, mesh post, and Z spot and go. So again, that's our 6 plays, our audibles. Here's a look at our audibles. We got flood, Z spot and go, smash return, and PA dig fork. Usually what he'll do is come out in double post. If he wants to run mesh post, he'll come out in that instead. Double post is going to be the most popular play, and also a couple of abilities you want are, I recommend getting Gunslinger or Set Feet Lead at the quarterback position. It's not necessary, but it's something that's going to help you out a little bit. You also want Tight End Apprentice and Backfield Master. So since I'm using Brady, he has Hot Route Master. I can obviously do all these, but if you didn't have Brady, you would want Backfield Master right here, and then you would want Tight End Apprentice on your tight end right here. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop out. And again, we're starting out with this double post. I'm just going to run some zone coverage to start out. I'll tell you guys some routes that beat man coverage, but I'm not going to continue to audible to man zone because I don't want the video to be super long. But we're going to come out in this cover 2, start out in. Taking a look at our player, just the first thing you can do is just drag RB. That's a basic setup. That's not even really one of his setups, but it's something to be said with double post. Just drag RB, and you see right here, just snap that ball, boom. You can get Y or RB on that dual drag route. Really difficult to defend. Man coverage, Y is going to beat man coverage. Pretty much every route on this play or setup will beat man coverage besides our friend A over there on the right side. But you see crosser, really decent. You got this post route. And yeah, you can check down. Gives you options. But overall, it's not going to be the best setup. So adding on to this, what we want to do is we're going to actually flat Y right here. And then we're just going to throw RB on a hitch. So again, this is going to be another quick snap type setup. A lot of people in bunch use a lot of motion, but Kiv's bunch is a little bit different. There's not a whole lot of motion in it. It's a lot of quick snap type plays, flipping, things of that nature. So you see flat Y, hitch RB, just go ahead, snap the ball right there. I can check down to A. I really like these hitch, flat spacing concepts. They're really successful in stressing out zones, hit hook zones, and flat zones. Over here on the left, you're going to get another high-low read. So I'm going to check down to our table route right here, boom. Somehow we just swerved past him, but usually it's going to be like a 10-yard gain, depending on what their zone drops are at. But yeah, it's a very good setup, hitch RB and flat Y. Moving on to our next setup, what you want to do is you're going to, again, just quick snap setup. We're not using a whole lot of motion on this double post play anyways, but you're going to actually block your running back. You're going to throw A on an out route, and you're going to drag RB. So it looks like this. Again, just a little setup. Now this one's going to be mainly a man coverage setup. Again, I'm not going to audible between, but the reason that we're throwing A on an out instead of a flat is it's better against man coverage. Drags are pretty successful against man. Obviously, this post route, very quick breaking, and that C route will do numbers against man coverage. Just snapping the ball, you see boom, and you can kind of throw that post over the top. Against cover 3, it's going to be a little bit of a bigger window for you. You can low ball it usually. But again, throw A on an out route, block your running back, and just throw R1 or RB on a drag. Again, snap the ball, boom. You can check down to the drag, similar to our flat C route combo that we had a little bit earlier. But that's going to be it for that setup. And again, I'm going through a little bit faster because I have, probably 20 setups. So I don't want the video to be super long. I want it to be around 20 minutes, not, 40. So that's why I'm going a little bit faster than I typically would. But moving on to our next setup, you're going to throw A on a drag. We're going to block our running back, and then we're going to throw RB on a slant. So it's going to look like this. Obviously, we're going to use motion for this setup, and what we're going to do is motion our slant route across. So we got a slant to post combo, and then we also have this drag to C route combo. Very successful. Accidentally missed my read right there, but really what you're looking at again is the similar drag to corner out concept. Again, this is a really nice setup against man coverage because the tight end on drag is a little bit more useful than that flat again. And then obviously we know about the post and corner route that do beat man coverage. So motion them over, snap it like this. Can low ball that slant, can check down to my drag coming across the formation. Again, these setups work in man, cover 3, cover 2, all of that jazz. So moving on to our last and final setup out of the double post play. What we're going to do is throw A on an out route. And then we're going to go ahead, drag RB, and throw Y on a little Texas route. So again, if you didn't know how to use the backfield master ability, you're just going to use your D-pad. Again, you see Texas, flat, ghost, and block and release hook. We're going to use all of those besides ghost, so very useful. Sorry about that, my watch just went off if you heard that, but here's a look at our setup. RB on a drag, A on an out, B on a post, and then Y on that Texas route. Gives you just a lot of options. It's going to be very difficult to user all of these. So you got corner, boom. The drag or the Texas route will usually be open. If you miss that read, miss that progression, you're going to get the post route to Texas route combination as well. So it gives you a lot of options. Again, that setup was Y on a Texas route, A on an out, and RB on a drag, just like this. Go ahead and snap the ball. And here I'm going to check down to RB. Obviously, cover 2 is going to play that outside a little bit, deeper than certain coverages to where maybe I would be able to throw that corner out. But since I'm showing against cover 2 right now, it's obviously not going to be as much of a throwable route. But yeah, one more time, Y on a Texas, A on an out, and RB on a drag. Again, you see for the majority of these setups, we didn't really go ahead and use motion as I threw a pick, just the Stevie right there. Yeah, I recommend going in practice mode before you head into any online play and lab these up. You want to be experienced at doing these. You don't want to just hop into a game right after watching this video, because that's where reads like that could happen. But overall, just these spacing concepts will help you a ton. And yeah, let's move on to our next play. It's going to be smash return. I'm not sure if I talked about my audibles. I honestly can't remember. But here's a look at the audibles: flood, Z-spot, and go. Or actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. But just to reiterate, those are my audibles. Let's hop into smash return. The first setup is going to be Y on a flat, RB on a zig, and B on a little streak. You can also go ahead and throw B on a fade if you prefer that. It doesn't really make a huge difference. But here's a look at the setup. Gives you a lot of options. This tight end corner out is what we're going to kind of focus in on. It's really nice. Very solid corner out, especially against like cover 3. People will play over the top, and it can actually get really deep over some of those zones if you wait later in the play development. Obviously on this left side, we're also going to get another little high-low read, this in to dig route combination. Definitely like that as well. So again, we're throwing RB on a zig, Y on a flat, and B on a fade or streak route, whatever you want. Just like this. You see sometimes if you wait, you can kind of pass that over the top. That cloud flat's playing really deep there. But a lot of times it can fall a little bit shorter than that. So yeah, so again, the setup for this first play, B on a fade or streak, RB on a little whip route, and Y on a flat. Boom, go over there, and you see this in route gets in a really nice spot, especially over those vert hook zones, hook curl zones. Definitely a very throwable ball. Going to be difficult, especially with how much stress we're throwing on that right side of the bunch, to go ahead and user both of these routes every time. They're going to start manning up the running back, rushing 2 people, which is obviously going to hurt their defense. But that was our first setup out of smash return. Let's hop into another one that we want to do. This is another quick snap type setup. But what you want to do pretty much is just flat Y. So here's our setup. And we're going to actually leave RB. In case you can't see that, he's kind of on this little hook option choice type route. Where against man coverage, I believe he's going to continue to run the drag. But against zone, he's actually going to stop and turn it into kind of a hook route. I think that's what it's called. Now with B, we got this little reverse in route. And we're going to actually motion him out. So we got the flat to this little drag route. Just gives us a lot of options. You see that the flat might have been open. RB sometimes is open, especially if they don't have a vert hook zone. And obviously if that's their user where they're using, that's going to be open. So again, I threw Y on a flat and then just motioned Antonio Brown out a little bit. The reason for that is so all of these routes don't get too bunched up. But you see you can really pass lead that table route up. And depending on how these zones on the left are developing, that hook curl, little hook route can be open a lot of the times. One more time, Y on 8, little flat route, and then just motion Antonio Brown over. Obviously, if they start playing underneath, you can hit A, you can hit X, depending on what you want to do, but you can also hit Mike Evans late in that progression, depending on how far they use her over. Because once they see that little hook route kind of stop, that's when they might, go ahead and really start on that left side and can let that in route kind of pass them by. But moving on to our last setup with smash return, what you want to do is you're going to go ahead and fade RB. So throw RB on a fade. And then what you're going to do is you're going to flat B and just drag X. So just a little basic setup. Now what Kiv does, I believe, is he has a playmaker on that solo side receiver every time. So I think he has Dion over here if you're playing Ultimate Team. Because with this drag route, you can literally playmaker him, beat man coverage, beat every coverage. So he'll usually playmaker him a little bit to the left after, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Here's just the basic setup, B on a flat. You can kind of roll out here and you see that tight end gets really open. That's what I was kind of show earlier when I actually threw that interception. And I think the flat probably does a better job, not only because we're using B instead of RB on that zig, but also because we are rolling out and he is on a flat. So very, very successful in doing that. Again, X just on a basic drag. Usually the drags will be open. He's going to kind of have to use the drag. Otherwise, it's going to be throwable. You see the flat's probably going to open up late as well. So it gives you a lot of options overall. One more time with smash return. Very solid play. Again, the tight end corner route is kind of the main route. I didn't throw it a whole lot, but that's what you're usually looking in your first read. Very decent against man coverage, depending on the type of man coverage he's running as well. But again, be on a flat, Y on a drag. You're blocking your running back for this setup. If I wanted to, I could always throw him on a flat, whatever. But here's the look. Again, you kind of want to slide out of the pocket and throw that right about there. You see it almost takes the drag route getting to that right side for the cloud flat to kind of fall down. So that's going to be it for smash return. Let's move on to Z-spot and go here. Kind of a soft play. We only got 2 real setups for this play. What you want to do for our first setup is, again, a lot of quick snap type setups without motion. It's going to be, and really I think bunch without motions is even more difficult to defend than with, because when you motion a lot of receivers over, you're giving out what kind of play you're running. When you motion that slot receiver over from right to left, he's expecting mesh post or double post every single time. But when you can run, 6 plays without motioning, it's going to be a guessing game at that point and really difficult to defend. So starting out with Z-spot and go, you're just going to throw A here on a streak and be on an out route. Just look at this and boom, it's going to be really, really good against cover 2. Probably the best play against cover 2 potentially in the game. You see this little bench concept on the right. The right is really, really, really good on cover 2 and pretty much nobody runs it. So if you're running like any kind of a cover 2, even if it's a 20-yard cover 2, I believe this should get over the top. Gronkowski also does a decent job of getting, streaking the middle. Because of our C route on that left side and how we're not touching it at all, you see Gronkowski's going to be wide open, especially even with a mid-read zone. So they're almost going to have to middle third that, inside linebacker. So again here, A on a streak, B on an out. Very simple setup, 2 routes, and you can snap the ball. I could even almost throw B here with a low ball, and with Gunslinger, that's almost something I can do, especially if they're, putting that cloud flat so deep. So again, one more time, B on and out, A on a streak. I can also go ahead smart out R1 if I want. You see when I smart out, he becomes a little bit shallower. And especially against like a deeper cover 2, this isn't going to be too successful. But against man coverage, this will help out. You see he's just going to make that cut. And it still does get open. It's just a little bit more on the sidelines. So if you're looking to kind of turn it into a touchdown, that's something you can do. Again, just smart route him. This only works in current gen, by the way, that little smart route, corner route trick. In next gen, it's not going to be as good. But don't forget about the left side. I know how much I was talking about the right. That flat route, again, it's going to be a 10-yard pickup depending on the rat catch animation that you get. But that's going to do it for our first setup. Let's hop into our second setup. What you want to do with this is you're going to go ahead, block Y. You're going to throw B again on that route, smart route RB. And then I actually like to... Actually, I'm in the wrong play, but again, B on and out, block Y, smart route R1, then you're going to throw A on a cross and X on just on an in route. So it's going to look like this. I like this tight end crosser. This is the first time you're going to see it, but it's going to come up in flood and PA dig fork as well. Just go ahead, snap the ball. Obviously, against the cover 2, it's not too good, but it gives you options. Again, you saw the right side is going to be open as well. Not as open because we don't have the streak, but again, they're not going to run cover 2 every single time. Here's a look at the setup. I can also throw X on a drag if I like that a little bit better, just because he's not going to get bumped as badly. You see, you can still throw that corner out. The out route has a ton of separation as well. So that's going to do it for Z-Spot and Go. Let's move on to our next play, which will be Flood. Flood, first setup, I think we all know it. Flat Y or wheel Y, just a basic, play art. You see, geez, we just got absolutely destroyed. But Flood's actually pretty bagged by stock cover 2, and depending on what kind of adjustments you do. But against cover 3, it's a little bit better. And again, this is just a basic setup. I can obviously check down here. Can check down to Y as well. So it gives you options. It's not the best play in the offense, but it is decent. The setup that he actually goes with that I'm not really going to talk about a whole lot is one where he uses that outside apprentice ability that I didn't really talk about yet, but this is a little setup that I believe he goes with, something like this, where it's going to be on a streak, X on a little post, A on a drag. Again, if you have that outside apprentice, that's something you can do. If not, don't worry about it, but just another idea and something you can do with Flood. Moving on to our main setup with this play, you're going to throw A on a crosser, X on a drag, and then you're going to flat Y. So it's going to look like this. I'm in the wrong play, of course. You'll probably see that a lot throughout the video, but here's a look at our setup. X on a drag, you got that crosser, you got that, again, streak to corner out. And the reason we like to keep these two routes the same is because it's a cover 3 beater. So no matter what you do with those other receivers, this play will always beat cover 3 if you keep the little fade and the out route. Sorry about that, but you see the crosser gets into a really decent spot, especially when we're flatting Y. So again, here is a look at our setup. Boom, crosser A, drag X, flat Y. You don't have to flat Y, you can honestly block him. And especially that's when people are running double A gap, user rush, nickel 3-3-5 wide type setups on you. But more times than not, you usually are going to want to send 5 routes out just to give you the most options. So one more time with Flood, cross A, drag X, flat Y. And obviously on this right side, it can still get open as well. But it just gives you another high-low read with the drag to out route combo. So that's going to do it for Flood. Let's hop into our last play for now, and then we'll hop into mesh post, although that play isn't used a whole lot. But PA dig fork, this play is very solid. We only really have one main setup, but there's a couple of things you could add to it and really do. With setup, what you want to do is drag X. I believe you go ahead and flat RB, throw A on a crosser, and block Y. So here's a look at our setup. This S post, we all know how good it is against man coverage, so use this. Just gives you options, a little high-low read almost between the crosser and deep post. And then you have a little drag to flat. Again, he uses playmaker on X, so you can use that. But you see how open that S post becomes because of our crosser deep down the field. That's going to help out a whole lot. Again, A on a crosser, X on a drag. And then he actually just flats RB and blocks Y. You can also smart out B. That's something that I do. I'm not sure if he does it, to be honest. But smart routing B is going to make him a little bit shorter. So, boom. That was on the run. So, you saw how slow the release was, and we were still able to complete it. Meant to set my feet there, but again, here's just a look at our first setup. Again, depending on how far his zones are, you can throw A. Also, again, what he does with X, he has that little playmaker ability on him. So, you can definitely use that playmaker if you choose to. If not, the play still works. One little added thing you can do with Y is, again, I mentioned that block and release hook a little bit earlier. You can throw him on that block and release hook, run the exact same setup, and still have success. Just gives you a little extra option, especially on that left side. Late in play, you can throw X or Y, or even RB on that sideline. Usually X is going to be more open than RB because RB's holding a lot of the zones on the right side. But that's pretty much going to do it for PA dig fork. There's a couple of other things with this I'm not going to talk about, but overall it is a decent play. You can use it in other ways. And again, these are just his setups. There's obviously way different things that you could do with PA dig fork. Again, my watch goes off. But yeah, there's some other things that you could do. Let's hop into mesh post though. Have 2 quick setups with that play, and then we will be out of here. So again, mesh post isn't used a whole ton, but it is used a decent amount. Just a couple of times, I believe, throughout the games I saw. So we're going to run cover 3, mix it up a little bit. The first setup, we all know, I believe the first setup with this, just going to be X on and out and RB on a slant. This is a very basic setup everybody's been using since last year. Wouldn't even call it his setup necessarily, but it is used. Very decent setup, gives you options. But again, a big tell that you're running mesh post or double post, any kind of a post play, is when you see that slant route motioned over. So run this very uniquely, or don't run it. Sorry about that. I just got a little bit confused, but run it as you will. Don't run it too often. Don't continue to run this because he's going to catch on. So run it when he's probably not expecting it. Don't, overuse the play is probably what I meant to say. But again, with mesh post, our next setup and our final setup is just going to be to put RB on a streak and Y on a flat. So just a basic setup. We got drags, flats, and this post route. Again, just a little bit of a uniquer concept. Probably a lot of people aren't running this style of offense. So it definitely gives you options. Again, just RB on a streak, Y on a flat. Again, quick snap type setup. Can always check down to Gronk in the flats and pick up your 5 yards. That's something I recommend doing a ton. But yeah, overall, it's a really, really good play for the offense. Gives you a ton of options. And yeah, mesh post is probably the worst play out of all of these, but the fact that it's still really good can help you. That drag's going to be wide open with the routes that we surrounded it with. So overall, one of the best offenses in the game, gun bunch. You add all of these setups to some of the normal setups that I didn't even go over, and you can have really good success. There's also some setups. I've dropped bunch offset videos myself. I have different setups to add to this, but yeah, it's pretty much going to do for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and peace. I'm out of here.